Hi, welcome back to Leah's Jewelry and Gems. I'm Leah. Today I'm going to be making another necklace using beads from Rainforest Relic Collections for July, which was the bargain bead box. Um, so I'm going to be using these beads that I have here on my mat, and I'm also going to be adding in carnelian from my stash. I'm not sure exactly how I want it laid out, but I have a plan. So these are the faceted crystal rondelles. I don't know for sure that I'm going to be using these, but I figured better to have them out than to not if I wanted to add them. These are the leaf spacers. This is the glass pearl strands. We're going to be using this, and we're going to be using this leaf focal. So those are what I'm thinking for this one. Thinking we may throw those in. We'll see. And I have carnelian, and I have it in two different sizes. I believe this is a 6 millimeter, and I have 4 millimeter as well. Just dump those out. We're not going to use all of those, but just to have them handy. Some 4 millimeter. I'm not sure what size I want to use for this project. So this is about 16, a little over 16 inches for this strand. So I'm not going to be using all of these, but I do want to add some contrast in. So I'm thinking I'll do the carnelian and the crystals with the leaves to give it the contrast that I like. So we'll open this strand. And these are beautiful glass pearls. Take this all off. And I'm going to be putting this on the Soft Flex medium, and this is the antique brass color. So let's see. I'm gonna open one of these just in case. So we have that open. And let's open these crystals just in case I decide to use them. So let's see. Do I want green? I think I want the carnelian right up against the pendant. I think I'm gonna start with the small ones against the pendant. Then I'll do pearls, the larger carnelian, pearls, a crystal, pearls, and then a leaf. Do I like that? do I want to do this? I think I'm gonna go, I think I'm gonna leave that crystal there, put the larger carnelian here, and then put two of the small carnelians around the leaf. And then I'll flip this on the other side. I'll flip this pattern on the other side of this leaf bead. So let's start here. And I will change the direction of the leaves as I add them. I'm not sure how long I want this necklace to be yet. So those, then the larger carnelian, then the glass pearls. And the crystal, and the pearls. Small carnelian, and then our pendant. And we'll work up the other side. So in the comments, let me know what type of projects have you been making with your bargain bead box. And if you haven't already, check out my description. I'll have the link to the Bargain Bead Box subscription site as well as their sister store, so you can check out everything that they have to offer. It is really a worthwhile subscription to have because you get so many beads to use. Okay, so that's what we have so far. I really like that. So now I'm going to do this pattern in reverse. So I'll put on the 3 glass beads. The larger carnelian, 3 more glass beads, a crystal, glass beads. These glass pearls are really amazing. The color is so consistent through them. And then the small carnelian. My hands are fighting me today. And I'm going to put the leaf in the opposite direction right here. And then the small carnelian. So I really like that pattern. Are we missing one? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. No, we're good. So I'm going to repeat this again, flipping it again, and then I'll measure to see how long it is. That's 3. And then the leaf with the carnelian around it. Let's see how long this is. So this is about 8 inches, which would give you a 16-inch necklace. If I do one more repeat, it would add another 2 inches, which would make it 20 inches. I think I'll make it to 20 inches. Let me just make sure I have enough of the pearls. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I'll have plenty of pearls. And we're doing the carnelian first, and then we're going to do the crystal. Yep, that'll be perfect. So I'm going to put a bead stopper on this end, leaving enough room that I have plenty of room to crimp with. Then I'm going to slide everything down. And with it folded in half, I'm going to take my wire and even them out, and then I'm going to cut this side off. And now I'll bead up this side. The large carnelian. And the crystal. And then our leaf. Facing down. These have such a great hole in them as well. Then the crystal. This one's going to be facing up. Just checking my pattern. And then our last 3 pearls. There we go. And that is the perfect length. Put those up there. And maybe I'll make a bracelet to go with this. I'm gonna put a small magnet clasp on this one since it's not really too heavy. So I need my crimps. I have my clasp. Not gold. I'm gonna put a crimp on one side of the magnet clasp. I'm gonna go back down through that crimp. And through one bead just to give me something to hang on to. And I'm going to grab my magical crimper. You have to hold the magnet out the way because it will attach to everything. Give it a squish, turn it, squish again. Just keep turning until it doesn't compress anymore. Magnet clasps are fantastic, but they can be a challenge to work with when you're direct connecting because they will stick to all of your tools. I'm gonna feed that through a couple of beads and then I'm gonna cut this tail off. I'm gonna slide everything down. Put on my second crimp. Go through the magnet. And yes, even the wire likes the magnet. Go back down through the crimp and a few beads. And I go through a few beads just to make sure that my loop is centered. Because for me, when I try to crimp when it's not through a few beads, my loop tends to be lopsided. And I don't like that look. I'm going to hold this to try to minimize the space between these beads and also to make sure that my magnet is out of the way from my crimper. There we go. I'm going to trim this end. And that is the necklace. So let's make a bracelet really quick. And for the bracelets, I struggle with bracelet sizing, so I use a bracelet mandrel, and that makes it easier for me to determine the size of the finished bracelet. So I'm going to be using that to measure. And for this, I think I'm just going to use the larger carnelian and the crystals as well. And do I want a small one on the end? I'll put the small one there for now. I may change it. And I'll do the same pattern that I was doing. Three. I think I'm just going to do a leaf between the crystal and the carnelian that are spaced. Three more of the glass pearls. Crystal. Three more pearls. And then let's see how long this is. So using a bracelet mandrel, you just want to take it and you want to wrap it around. So at this point, this is very tiny. So I'm going to take this and use this as the focal portion. And then I'm just going to add carnelian to the back end. So the carnelian will be around the back of your wrist. And I'm going to load them all on one side for the purposes of measuring, and then I can split the carnelian in half once I cut the wire and put them on the other side, which is a neat trick to have if you're not creating a pattern at the back of your bracelet and you've already laid out your pattern. That way you don't have to pull it off and put it back on to keep measuring. You can just load all of that same bead onto one side to figure out the length that you need. How many is this? 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Let's see how many it is with the 10, how big it is. This is just at 7 inches, which would give you space for your loops that are holding the magnet clasp um, as well as the clasp itself. So I'm going to take off 5 and leave 5 on. I'm going to crimp this end. Need a magnet. Put my crimp on one side of my magnet and back down through it. I try to keep my wires side by side as I'm getting ready to crimp because that makes it easier to crimp. Hold the magnet and crimp it. There we go. We'll slide these down. And then I'll cut my wire so that I have enough room to add the beads as well as crimp it. I may have cut this too short. We'll see. We'll make it work. Add the crimp. Go through the other side of the clasp. Go through, and I'm going to go through that first bead. This is a little short, so I'm going to use my bent chain nose pliers to grab that tail and to pull it to get some leverage on it. Before I crimp this, I'm actually going to put this on here once I get this. I'm trying to get the loop to the size that I want the loop to be before I crimp. And I'm just going to put it on my bracelet mandrel and see if I crimp it right there, it's going to be a 7.5 inch bracelet. That's why I love these bracelet mandrels. They are so helpful. And now I'm just going to crimp this. While fighting my magnet is not an easy task. Spin it this way. Oh, I have a large gap here, so I'm going to restring this after I get off of here to try to get rid of this gap. But this is the bracelet that I made. I really like this design, and it goes with this necklace from Rainforest Relics, and I really like this set. So thank you for watching today, and stay tuned to see what else I create. Bye.